Joining me right now is UFC welterweight, the body snatcher, Dwight Grant. What's going on, Dwight?
Not much, man. I'm doing pretty good.
Well, I'm out in Asia. I saw that you took a trip out to Japan. Talk about that
Oh yeah.
experience and how it affected you.
Oh well, it was crazy because I've been a fan of like Japanese video games and anime and stuff like that since I was like real young. And I always wanted to go. And when I went, what was crazy about it for my fighting career was it was my first time training with actual professional fighters. And at the time, I had about I think maybe 2 or 3 professional fights, but I never trained with another pro. And man, I got like totally schooled over there about what the regimen is like, dedication it takes. I met people who were trying to become professional boxers, trying to get their license. They'll tell me all their stories, and I was thinking, man, I thought I had it pretty hard, like just with my training. I thought I was really hardcore with it, but then I meet these guys, and they're literally fighting for their livelihood, and it really raised my ideal of what a professional fighter is, and like what you need to do to be one. So it was amazing.
Did you get any kung fu work in while you're out there?
Kung Fu? Nah. All my Kung Fu I was doing in New York at the time.
All right, let's get into your UFC career. You made your UFC debut last December. You dropped a close decision to the late replacement Zach Otto. A lot of people thought you got robbed. What was going on? What was going through your head? What was going through your mind after the decision was announced?
Well, I mean, even right after the fight, like from doing kickboxing for all those years, I figured, you kind of like take a toll of like not toll, but take kind of like a feel of your body and go, okay, I'm pretty sure I won that. Like I hit him more times than he hit me. I was doing this, I was doing that, and I do like a quick thing to see, if I won, and I felt like I really won, and then I didn't. So I was upset, and I remember going to the back and just being like, man, like I didn't even get beat up when I lost. This is crazy. Like what's going on? But immediately after that, I just thought about ways I could fix it. I mean, I shouldn't say immediately because like it was about a couple of hours where I was really pissed off. For a couple of hours, I was really mad. But then I started to hone in on what I could have done because I could say like, yeah, like I should have got the win, but in reality, it was under my control. I had 15 minutes to make the win happen. So I just came back and started working to make sure it never happens to me again.
That kind of reminds me of a topic that comes up recently right now in MMA is the home cooking, and people are talking about that. Do you think that has to do something with it a little bit?
Well, I mean, that's going to be the first thing that like you feel for sure. I mean, because I have 2 losses, and in my first loss, again, it was in somebody's hometown. I felt like I won, but why I take all the blame for it is because even in that fight, I wasn't as active as I should have been, and I saw I was able to see a pattern. When something happens once, it's hard to see a pattern in it. When it happens twice, it's like, okay, I have these faults I need to fix. And the problem isn't just fighting in somebody else's hometown. And a lot of amateur fighters know this. When you are fighting somebody in their hometown, you have to finish them. It's just like you just have to. So I feel like it was some of that, but again, it still was on me to make the finish happen.
All right, now moving forward, you're scheduled for UFC Prague. Is it pretty crazy to be able to go all the way across the globe to get paid to compete?
Oh, this is the dream. I feel like like Ryu right now. I never really thought about fighting professionally in this kind of way. I always just wanted to go to Japan, fighting like K1 or Pride or something like that, and then like just be done. Like that was the thing that made me decide to go from doing my normal job to doing this. But now I see all the other possibilities, places I can go and be a real martial artist and a real like warrior, like going from country to country, from state to state, and fighting and winning. And that to me is like it's a dream come true. So it's pretty awesome.
It's almost straight up like Street Fighter, basically.
Yeah, I'm right. Man, I got the backpack in my bag, and I'm walking through. I got to bring my friends along with me. This is great.
You're facing Carlo Pedersoli. He's 1-1 in the UFC. What are your thoughts of him as an opponent?
Well, I mean, I don't really give my opponents so much thought. I know that's kind of like a cliche answer. Like I don't think about my opponent at all. No, but I do think about him. I just I didn't know who he was beforehand. I looked at some of his fights, and regardless of what I think about them, they're gonna do the same thing. It's gonna start off, and they're gonna try to take me down. Like everybody that I fight always tries to take me down, even when they say they're not going to. If they're a striker, they're like a kickboxing world champion or whatever. It doesn't matter. At some point, like they shoot for a double leg, you know, and that's what I expect to happen with this one. And I'm not concerned about that, but I do need to make sure that I don't let what happened last time happen. So I gotta make sure I'm in there and I'm making action happen.
What attributes do you possess that Carlo will have problems with in the cage?
Um, well, that's hard to say because you don't want to sound too sound too arrogant about things, but I hit really hard. That's something that is hard to prepare for. I think people look at me and also like sometimes we like carry myself. They feel like, oh, this guy, he's a nice guy. He doesn't really hit too hard. I hit really hard, especially during fights. During sparring and stuff like that, I try to keep it light. But during fights, I really go in. That's one thing. Also, I think we both have almost the same reach and everything like that. So all that stuff is negligible. I think it's more just that like I like to fight and I hit hard. So that's something that like it wears people down and it makes them hesitant. Because even if he starts feeling confident, he knows that I'm coming for that shot. That one shot finish. And I don't just throw one shot. I'm going to make sure that I follow up too. So that's something that a lot of people have to prepare for.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard to prepare for someone else's power shots. And I wonder what it would be if someone actually came up with a method to prepare for someone's power shots. That would just be funny to me. I think it'd just be some cartoonish style.
Like conditioning their face. I just take No, I mean, there's definitely ways to deal with it. But I think that another thing too, now I think about it again, is also like I did kung fu for a long time. I did Muay Thai, yeah, obviously, and I did Panatukan, Filipino boxing, all kinds of different martial arts. So a lot of people that I spar with, people on my team, people that I fought before, they tell me that it's really hard to spar with me or fight with me because I'm not really at this. I don't do what people expect me to do. My reaction isn't a boxer's or kickboxer's reaction. It's like a kung fu reaction, and I've managed to make that work with my fighting. There was a time when I wanted to fight like a boxer, when I wanted to fight like a kickboxer. I mean, pure. I mean, one of my favorite fighters of all time, Masato. He's a fighter from K1. Mm-hmm. But like, I just wanted to be like a pure kickboxer at one point, but it didn't fit my style. Like, no matter what I tried to do or change, I still went back to kung fu. So unless you've been fighting somebody like that or you have a sparring partner like that for the past like 10, 15 years, I don't think you can be able to prepare for me and my choices in the fight.
All right, let's talk about your team, a.k.a. You took a while to get onto the actual team. Did you build a lot of character throughout that process?
Oh, definitely. Firstly, just even coming, so I moved from New York to California to be part of a.k.a. That was, like, at the time, it just seemed like the only choice. Like, it was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And that's something that I always do. I always make a decision, and then I'm in it. There's no, like, feeling out process. So when I decided to move, I moved. I came to AK for the first time, I think it was in March, and I was moved here completely by August. So I was in. But when I started sparring people on the team, these are world champions now. So it was different because I couldn't use the same tricks, I couldn't have like one trick that I used to get in, or even some of the moves that I do that are kind of weird. People figured it out in like maybe the first week, and then it was like I got to learn all these new things. I got to fix my footwork. I got to fix my approach. I had to learn new techniques, and that was something that it wasn't necessarily hard for me to do, but it was strange because you think you have what you need, especially because I've been fighting for so long before I even got here. But that's what happens to everybody that comes to the gym. They come to the gym with their previous accolades, and then, they learn that this is a whole new world, and you're going to have to learn to swim in here. And if you don't, you're out. And if you can pick up and get with it, then, you're part of the team. So I was happy it was that difficult.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding. AKA is probably the best team. If you put up if you put up all the accolades that you guys have accumulated, it's crazy.
I'm going to say it is the best. I'm going to say it.
Now, preparing for Pedersoli, Who have you been working with closely day in and day out?
You know, well, the thing about it is he's a southpaw, and I prefer to fight southpaws. You know, that's just what I like. I used to be a southpaw when I first started fighting, so I kind of have like an ideal of, you know, like the struggles and like the advantages they have. But also, you know, Justin's a southpaw. When I first came here, I was Luke's sparring partner like for a long time. So he's a southpaw. So a lot of that was, you know, pretty much already in me from the beginning. Other than that, just Justin, some guys at the gym, my friend Tom, Ponce de Leon, my friend Fabian, and Justin. And I'm probably forgetting somebody else too. So my friend Dennis who's coming with me. He's coming to help me with the jiu-jitsu stuff. And that's pretty much it.
It seems like you've built a great relationship with Justin Willis, who has impacted the heavyweight division in the shorter period of time he's been in the UFC. How has he impacted your game?
Oh, in a lot of ways, because, you know, we kind of work together in a way where he sees stuff that I need to do and work on. I see stuff that he needs to work on, and then we help each other. And what the best thing about us training together is there's no excuses. You know, it's like, hey, you gotta do this, or it's not, or, you know, or you're not gonna win. It's not gonna work out. And he's like, all right, cool. And he tells me stuff, and he helped me with my grappling a lot, helped me with a lot of things. You know, we work on striking together, and we just give each other ideas, and it's a real good relationship of getting better. The focus is always to improve every single day. And when you're that kind of person, it's really hard for people to understand you. You know, like people might think you're obsessed with winning or victory, and they might kind of pull away from you. You know, because they feel that this guy's he's too much, man. It's something that I can't take it. But when you both have that mindset and you both want to win, you want to succeed so badly, like it's just like I don't know, it's rubber hitting the road. You know, it just goes straight forward, and that's what it's been. You know, you've seen all the awesome performances he's done, and how I've been doing a lot better since I started training with him. So just, you know, it's the perfect thing to happen for, I think, both our careers.
How proud of you of him when he stood with Mark Hunt and beat him in the stand-up game?
Oh man, I mean, he's always been good at striking. Like the thing about him that I think a lot of people don't realize is that he's a very smart guy. Like, he understands fighting. He understands like positioning and placement. So I think the fact that he was able to do that, and me, first of all, like, I'm a K1 fan. I've been watching, like, you know, like K1 and Pride forever. So I'm a big fan of Mark Hunt, and I know how like skillful he is also. And he's a veteran. He had all this experience, but you see that Justin was able to use his understanding. It wasn't just like athletic ability. It wasn't like he just ran him over and started throwing punches. He used understanding and ring positioning to neutralize his whole offense, and his whole offense was kickboxing and boxing. So I think I was very, very proud of him. I mean, I'm proud of him every time I see him prepare for a fight, and the night before the fight or the night before weigh-ins, and I'm watching him like train. I'm just thinking about, man, look how far we've come, you know. So I'm very proud of this guy all the time.
All right, UFC Prague. What are your expectations for this fight versus Carlo Pedersoli?
Expectations? Well, I mean, everybody asks. I say this all the time. The first thing they should say is, I expect to win. That's the first thing. But I'm going to win like I always do, by a finish and knockout. You know, like there's no disrespect to him or to his abilities. It's just that this, to me, is the prize of the fight. The prize isn't just to fight and win. Yeah, I want to win, obviously, that's the main thing. But when I win, I want it to be in spectacular fashion. I want it to be by knockout, because that's the kind of highlight reel I want to have. You know, I'm thinking about the future, and 30, 40 years from now, you know, my grandkids are watching my fights. I want them to see amazing action. I don't want them just to see me like hugging up and laying down and throwing like little punches. You know, so I'm really gonna go for the finish in this fight.
All right, you're in California right now, but you represent Brooklyn. Last question sure. Before I let you go: who is the greatest rapper coming out of BK?
Oh, that's an easy question. Jay-Z, obviously. That's not even a thought. I grew up like a few blocks from where he grew up. You know, so I'm not gonna. You know, I would say Biggie, because Biggie obviously is Brooklyn. You know. And I'm a big fan of his, but unfortunately, he didn't get to complete his catalog, you know, so it got cut short. But even the short work that he did was amazing. but I'm gonna go with Jay-Z just because when I listen to his music and his full catalog, this guy is dropping all kinds of knowledge. I mean, yeah, it's entertaining, but if you just read the lyrics, you're like, whoa, that was smart. Yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, this is how you're supposed to do it. The guy is trying to help you. It's all crazy because I know how people view rap as just like some kind of like, a bunch of cursing and talking about this and that. But like when you read some of his lyrics on some of his albums or some of the deeper tracks, man, it's some serious knowledge getting dropped. So yeah, I'm gonna go with JC on this one.
All right, I just want to ask you one more question about the hip hop. Like, who are you listening to right now? Because it seems like you're not really into that mumble stuff. So who is some of the lyricists you like?
Well, I'm gonna this is gonna be weird. So just brace yourself. So I listen to a lot of J-pop, right? like since I was a little kid, a lot. So I might not be the best person to ask. I did grow up in Brooklyn, so I got teased every single day for this. So I come into music from a different angle. I listen to the lyrics. Like when I hear a new rap song, I almost don't even hear the beat. I just hear the words, and I'm trying to memorize the words and listen to what it is. I'm still listening to songs from like 20, 30 years ago. I'm listening to P. Diddy and the Family, Victory, like real old stuff. So it's really hard for me to stay home listen to now because everybody I name is going to be like people from like 20 years ago, 10 years ago. So I guess that's the closest answer I can give you without just like giving you random names of people.
All right, sounds good, man. Like me too. I'm kind of stuck in the 90s a little bit myself. I don't really listen to the newer stuff. Well, anyways, February 23rd, it all starts in Prague. Thank you for your time, Dwight, and good luck on your fight.
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. All right, later.